I'm Philbert. Welcome to the first of QCinema 2020's Real Talks. Our subject for today is viewing through the internet the new normal for watching movies. Will theaters get to recover lost ground amidst current and emerging streams, all competing for the slice of the box office pie? Uh, that's our subject. I'd like to introduce our guests for this panel. First is Mr. Erik Matti of Upstream, QCinema 2020 streaming platform.
Hello, everyone.
We also have Upstream's partner for QCinema 2020 streaming, GMovies, represented by Quark Henares from Globe Studios.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay. Representing ABS-CBN Film Productions, we have Mr. Enrico Santos. Also here to tell us about their upcoming exciting online platform is Ms. Tubongbanua of Viva Films.
Hi.
And from Cignal Entertainment, let's all welcome Maria Isabel or Bella Santillan.
Hi, good evening.
So yeah, welcome everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody who's joining us on Facebook. If you have any questions, leave a comment and we'll read them out. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see if I'm feeling generous. Before we actually talk about this new normal of streaming and stuff, I'd like to talk about the state of things before the pandemic actually happened, in the before times. How did you guys view streaming? Like, did you see it as a viable alternative to going to releasing films in cinemas? Or were you seeing it as a side thing that maybe you could do? Like, what was the thinking for you guys as producers? Anyone can answer.
I guess we'll all be shy for the first question. Who'd like to answer?
I guess I'll start because
Okay.
we're the newest player in the game of streaming with Cignal, because we just launched this year for their streaming platform. Well, this has been in the pipeline for the longest time. We know that that's where it's headed in the future when it comes to content. But we were surprised with, I guess, what happened with the pandemic, because before it happened, we were starting to produce films already for theatrical release, and there are a few projects in the pipeline that we had to put it on hold, given that the theaters are closed up to now. So yeah, that's where we're at. But then it's something that we're looking at in the case of I guess of our group, of the MVP group, Cignal.
The signal is signal front row, right?
Cignal would be Cignal
Signal front
C-Play.
row?
No, it's called C-Play. Signal Play.
Signal Play.
Yeah, Signal Play.
Oh, signal play. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yes. On our end, I guess you would say ABS-CBN would be, well, if you call it that, one of the first, the pioneers in the scene, because we started with I Want, which was initially just a catch-up for our TV shows. Then, of course, the next thing to do about it is to expand to streaming. But we knew right there and then, way before, that streaming is going to slowly seep in. And the pandemic actually just accelerated it. Before the pandemic struck, we were already trying to design a halfway house between streaming and the theaters. Because, alam mo naman, Pilipinas, not all of us are internet connected in the best way possible. So we know that it will take some time to get that habit in, also because of the data costs, which something that Quark and Erik, I think, solved. But so what we were doing before pandemic, right before pandemic, funny that you should ask, sometime February, March, is to come up with something on our TV Plus. The quite prevalent black box. So makakapag-digital ka, kinda cheap, affordable for everyone. And then the pandemic struck, and then of course we know the shutdown struck. So now that step has to be jumped to go to streaming. But if the pandemic and the shutdown hasn't happened for ABS-CBN, we'd actually be inviting Erik, Viva, and everyone to just go to the black box and avail of black box, not streaming, digital casting, I suppose, if you could call it that. So that's where we are. We knew years ago streaming is going to creep in, but we were quite prepared with a double whammy of pandemic and shutdown.
Anyone else?
Okay, on our part naman sa Viva, like of course you all know that theatrical is our main core. No, we make movies like for the theaters, but of course like Sina Belay or like Sina Enrico, we've been discussing about um launching a platform because it makes sense. We have like thousands of hours of content, so sabi namin why not, come up with a streaming platform. Pero it was, of course, because of the pandemic, mas lalo na speed up yung decision to, sige na, game na, ayusin na natin to because wala nga theaters. But like before, we were thinking, parang add-on. Mas makakatulong mag-recoup kasi sometimes, based on experience, the movie that doesn't do well in the box office is being paid so much by Netflix or by the other platforms. So, yun. So that's why we decided to launch our own because we believe, like si Boss Vic believes that this is where we're headed. So it's the digital age already.
I think prior to the pandemic, 2020, everyone was kind of in a comfortable place. We're doing films for theatrical, diba? And automatic from theatrical, we could sell it to Netflix. Some, for example, started already selling it directly to Netflix without having a theatrical. And that somehow, even if it's not really a win-win situation always, somehow we're happy with that setup. But at the back of our minds, everyone, we're thinking, well, we know the future is online. We could start pushing for it. But nobody wants to start working on it because everyone still has business opportunities with theatrical and just Netflix. And the occasional, of course, the occasional sale with other territories that happens to our Filipino films. So I think the streaming was just hastened by the pandemic. I think everyone had started having the courage to start it, especially also that when ABS-CBN closed down, we realized all of our, if there's a window for theatrical and then there's the window for Netflix, the next sale is ABS-CBN or GMA. And in their absence, with the shutdown of ABS, we have nowhere else to go after, and Netflix also lessened the amount of money that they're paying for our Filipino films. They don't pay as much anymore because they know that everyone is going to them in the absence of cinema. So everyone started thinking almost simultaneous. ABS started KTX, Viva wanted to do Viva Max, me and Quark started doing Upstream, Melai, and Cignal Play because we lost a few other business opportunities, and we're hoping that we could drive people towards this online thing.
I mean, all I've heard from producers, like even prior to the pandemic, was that the audiences for theatrical releases was actually going down. That it's harder and harder to make money for a film that was going to the theaters. So, I mean, did that go into your calculation as producers? Like, was this always where you were going to go? Like, were you already thinking, oh, maybe I personally am going to skip the theater?
Actually, yes and no, Phil. I think because but there are different kinds of streaming. There's free video on demand. There's subscription video on demand, which is I Want and Viva Max. The one that people were most scared of actually was transactional video on demand or like pay-per-view kind, because parang we noticed that people are going less and less to the theaters, but one of the biggest factors there was piracy, diba? And if you put your movie on digital first, and the first window being transactional. That's always a fear of producers, and admittedly us also, no, sa Globe and sa Upstream, na parang yun nga, parang what if this gets pirated, and then first window pa lang you're done, diba? Whereas before, okay, you go to the movie theaters, and then maybe you go to pay TV, and maybe it's only when you get the DVD and SVOD that cleared pirated copies start coming out. But now the risk is the very first release pa lang, ano na, pirated siya. So we saw it coming, but as we all know, the piracy is really a pastime here, diba? So, and that was always also the big fear that came to things.
Well, okay. I mean, that brings up an interesting question then. So, yun nga, like, I mean, how do you compete against DVD? How does your streaming platform? Because again, like, we're talking like this is the new normal, but it can't really be normal because of the lack of internet penetration in the Philippines in general. Like, not everybody has access to good internet. So, how are you guys like selling this idea of streaming to a public that can just buy a 50 peso DVD of the guy walking down the street?
Well, as an early answer to that, I actually think the guy selling DVDs across the street is even going passe already. Because right now, ask anybody from 13 to 30, or maybe even older, maybe as old as us, could even actually rip off the internet quite easily, even without getting out of their houses. I could conceivably text a friend today, and 5 minutes later, he'll find me a pirated copy. That easy, no matter how much we try. So for practically zero, ang hirap talaga ituro sa audiences na magbayad. However, I'd like to answer on two fronts. One front is that nobody's stopping. As you know, everybody knows here, Facebook, YouTube have all had fingerprinting technology that at least stops it when they do online uploading, and at least stops at least, 40, 50, maybe I'd even say 60% of online piracy that is passed on by Facebook and YouTube and wherever else, except on private messages. The PM is the key. My hated sentence, PM is the key, because then you can trace it. Bella is laughing. But then the other end is that we do have DRM, not quite as effective. Sometimes it still gets ripped off. This morning, Firefox got people going Firefox to rip up some of our KTX. We're still having problems with Chromecast. It's a very technical and very tedious process of trying to find the blockages in every possible browser that gets our product. The only thing that seems like a bright spot in the piracy scene is that music solved it. When they found Spotify, when they found a subscription model that's affordable to all, has a free layer and has a premium layer, the music piracy seems to be suddenly not as relevant as before. Everybody keeps hoping the cinema industry will find that kind of leveling wherein it's no longer so relevant to pirate. I'm not so confident forever there will be some great movie that someone just wants and will therefore search the internet for, but at least for the rest of our people are trying to live within the Filipino movie industry, kahit papano baka mabawasan. But yes, absolutely correct. The struggle continues.
In connection to Enrico also, there were three main issues that we talked about when we were putting up Upstream. Number one is piracy. Number two is the user experience. And number three is the payment gateway. Because then we realized we're a third world country. Not everybody has access to credit cards, etc. So those are the main things that we talked about that we need to assure, because we really want Upstream to be the place for all content producers. All content producers. We will not say no to any content producer unless it violates that the content violates any laws in the Philippines. So we want those three addressed, and with the piracy issue, our main issue was okay, we need to find a way to get the confidence of these content producers, even if at the back of our minds, we were thinking the people who will watch pirated films will not be the audience for Upstream. Because those who are willing to pay will be mainly the people who will also pay for whatever streaming platform we have, Cignal, for KTX, for Viva Max.
Netflix.
Yeah, but at the same time, we wanted, for producers' sake, for the producers that we want to sell the idea to, we want them confident enough. And by the way, for Fangirl, for example, that's the main question of Antoinette and Dan. So we had to beef that up from our end, that we've done as much as we could, even if at the end someone with better hacking expertise could download the film. We will try as much as we can to combat that, and we did. We had to be accredited by Disney, by Paramount, by Universal. Even after just a small story, even after Mulan was pirated, we got an email where Disney said, "Can you add something to the accreditation list that you can combat VPN?" Because Mulan was apparently downloaded through VPN, and we had to rebuild all the technical specs for that as well, and get ourselves accredited again to Disney, to Paramount, to Universal, just to make them all comfortable distributing their films on our platform.
Wow, Erik, Quark, those are very expensive enterprises.
I know. Pero kailangan eh. Di ba pati na fast forward, babayaran mo yan eh. Fast forward every time you rewind. may konting ano yan. Charge.
May 1 centavo.
On our end, not on the consumer's end.
Oh, on your end.
Not on the consumer's end. Because fixed price eh. Yeah.
Let's talk about Upstream in particular, because that's the hot new thing, I guess. So what was the thought behind doing specifically this pay-per-play, pay-per-view kind of thing, this instead of what people have become familiar with when it comes to streaming, some sort of subscription model? What are you guys really trying to accomplish with this particular model?
Quark, go ahead.
Okay, when Erik, sige, and then Erik, fill in the blanks. But no, actually, lumapit si Erik and Dondon came up to us basically because they knew that we had the tech know-how and the tech personnel to be able to pull this off. But they came to me. They producers came to me, a producer, to do this. So when we went up to Globe, basically we all came as producers, and we wanted it to be very pro producer. So that's why the share is it's even higher than yung the traditional movie box office share you'd get with cinemas. We really came in at the point na parang, oh my God, we have so many movies in the pipeline, we want to do so many things, but we don't know how long this pandemic is going to last, and we just want to be able to empower producers and make sure that they know that they have a home, diba? So that was really the seed of it all. And both Reality and Globe Studios admittedly don't have the voluminous library that Viva or that ABS has, diba? So we wanted to be more democratic about things and really just whatever any studio wants to show, we're really open to that. Yeah. Ikaw, Rick.
Well, for Upstream, number one, it was born out of fear, really. We were scared. We had 5 movies in the pipeline. Quark has a few others on the pipeline. We've had it on several stages of production. I think the longest discussion we had when we were starting this out, not just about analyzing the players in the industry, which is like you have KTX, you have iWant, you have Cignal Play. But the main topic between us was, are we gonna go SVOD or TVOD? And we went back to the core idea why we wanted to put this up. With the lack of cinema experience nowadays because of the pandemic, and we don't know when it's gonna open, what we heard from the government, from IATF, is that they talked to all the local government units, and all of them, until there's a vaccine, they're not gonna allow normalizing the cinema, people going to the cinemas. So our main issue was two things: are we gonna go TVOD or are we gonna go SVOD? But us, Globe Studios, and us, in reality, we want a cinema experience. So we just wanted to bring the cinema experience, transform it into the online streaming platform, which is a content producer makes a movie for X amount of money. They want a place to show it to. The cinemas are not yet there. If the cinemas are back, then they could go straight to cinema and then go to online. But in the absence of that, they could use the online streaming platform as like Upstream to show their content. And how does that happen in our normal distribution system in the Philippines? How it happens is the producer markets their film, go and see it in all the malls. In this case, the producers will market it, go and see it on Upstream. And we do a split. We want it simple. Why did we avoid SVOD? We avoided SVOD because we've been followers of Netflix. And we realized Netflix is really hungry for new content. You could only keep your audience if every week you open with 3, 5 new films, new shows, even mix it with old titles. But if you start slackening on acquiring all those titles on a weekly basis, we feel that they will not have the audience. You will start losing the audience and will start to look elsewhere. But with this, where it's just one title, you like one title, you buy it, we feel that it's more manageable. We don't want to kill ourselves, Quark and me, to acquire so many content just to put it on a weekly basis. We're thinking 2021, we're programming maybe 1-2 films as a marquee title every week. And then the rest could be like an older 5-month-old title that hasn't been seen here. Mix it up in the whole package. So that's how we came up with it.
So yeah, eventually you're gonna show other new films. Are you're gonna show like foreign films as well?
Yes, we're starting with you know what's perfect about our start, the start of Upstream is because we were talking about we wanted to be producer friendly, we wanted to be a place where everyone could just bring in their content, and then all of a sudden we got QCinema and MMFF. What a nice statement to put together. MMFF having the most commercial of all films, the most accessible to everybody. And you have QCinema where it's bringing films that may be unseen by a lot, and they're showing it in their festivals. But come January, we're back to regular programming. Before QCinema and MMFF came in, we already had a programming of our own. Quark and I designed a program for November, December. But now we've moved it up to January next year. And we're now beefing up the programming from January to March of next year, the first quarter, mixing it with Filipino films, Filipino TV series, mixing it with anime, Korean titles, even K-dramas. We're mixing Hollywood films. We're in tie-up with a few distributors here, Pioneer, etc. And we're also bringing in subtitled film because that's what everybody is shying away from. So we want the audience displaced by those titles to find a place by which they could find subtitled films as well. Yeah.
Enrico, iWant TV has been around for a while now. Can you maybe share some insight into Filipinos' streaming habits through your experience with the platform?
Well, first of all, iWant TV has a very different genesis from Upstream. We started 3 or 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, mainly as a catch up for TV. That sounds like simple, pero it's really a big thing, because then what you have are mainly TV viewers who are just expanding to possibly cinema. In a way, it's protective of our position before the pandemic, because we have a very robust Star Cinema lineup, 17 movies a year. So the movies will just go there, catch up TV, catch up movies. I'm very happy about Erik talking about user experience and payment, because user experience and payment are critical for Filipinos. Sobrang critical. I would say we're still improving iWant up to now. And that is the beauty of getting a fully crafted, finely crafted, finished software even before you launch. We're quite a long ways in handling technology. So you talk of these urban legends of Netflix having a whole building of technical people. That seems true now on hindsight. So yes, iWant came from a different place. Having said that, I'm going back to user experience. Filipinos are sophisticated. They want the convenience of Netflix. They want the one-click
Yes.
system. I wouldn't say they're lazy. They really will go through all the extent of finding a pirated movie that they love. No, but at the same time, if they paid for it, subscription or TVOD, they want it beautiful, quick, fast, no buffering. And that's something we all have to serve. Secondly is the cost. I mean, at times like these, and even before the pandemic, Filipinos have always been hard up. And the loss of movie-going revenue is partly attributable to the increase in traffic. We all know this, the prices of cinema, the price of Jollibee, the price of eating out, from Jollibee to Turks to I don't know how little Filipinos can eat after a movie. So cost is still a very big and important thing to discover. So we're all trying to figure out the right price point. I heard that I haven't tried. As I was telling Erik kanina, hindi ko na try ang Corpus Christi ng Upstream, but it's at 150. Am I not mistaken?
Yes.
Which is the price point we fictionally try to see as the manageable price, fictionally, because it hasn't turned in a profit yet. Tina, you're at 150 as well, 149. How about you?
Yeah,
Malay?
149.
149. Are you selling TVOD also, Mel?
You're mute. Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay, there. No, we're not on TVOD yet. It's really we're
Oh.
in SVOD at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you see, again, talking about experiences, there's a beauty to the Netflix subscription. And I know this is something Quark, Erik, and I, Tina, will all be jealous. Because when you pay and you put your credit card there or whatever, however you pay it, you forget about it. It's as if you're not paying it because it's like
Yes.
electricity. That's the kind of thing that could be a sweet spot for Filipinos. But I'll be honest, despite 4.5 years, we haven't cracked it yet. Of course, we've made a lot of gains. There are a few big breaks from Glorious to catch-up TV, but we haven't cracked the price point. I hope somebody cracks the user experience soon.
Yeah.
Pero since all of the streaming platforms are here, maybe we should start doing a blood compact. That we should do a blood compact where what we fear is that it becomes a game about price points. And what suffers is not really the business, but what suffers is the way people would look at local content. I hope we shouldn't get to a point where we'll have a whole movie priced at 20 pesos. And you get what I mean? We're expecting volume. But at the end of the day, people will start saying, 20 pesos? Well, it's probably not good. So I think we need to do a blood compact wherein we won't fight over who's
Yeah.
the lower price point at this
Twen-
point.
20 pesos, corneto na lang. But yes, Eric, I absolutely agree. I hope we get into that understanding. I will donate. I will contribute my risk if this has any authority, because really price is important, because everything is habit. If you get used to 30, you'll stick at 30. If you get used to 300,
Yes.
it might be hard, but you'll stick to 300 if you like it. It's time. The pandemic is the time for the industry to get together the way Koreans do, para talagang to lift everyone up as opposed to eat everyone alive. Erik was talking a while ago about keeping everyone open to everybody else's platform, meaning an Erik Matti movie can air on all our platforms, and I absolutely love the idea, because there is no sense keeping our own little silos at this point. The film
Yes.
industry needs all the support it can get. And if we can get together and one movie showing everywhere, the same way it opens, the way a Marvel movie used to open in all the cinemas, maybe the movies have a chance. I have an additional bit of info. We were just talking to foreign consultants, and they said a local streaming company, hard. Even regional is hard, because they did it with iFlix, they did it with what's the other one? The Hook.
Yeah.
Hard.
No, but
Yes, please.
Why we're confident about this is we've analyzed it, and I hope we could stand by that analysis. Is we're looking into this Indonesian platform where it's doing really good.
Oh, which one is it?
Hindi ko alam yung, I can't remember the name of the platform. But I think by moving online, it shouldn't be a license for us to start doing 3 million movie projects. I think now, in order for you to rise above the clutter, is because now it's not about marketing anymore. It's about having all these people go back to the platform and seeing interesting titles. And by doing that, you should be able to afford to bring the aesthetics a little higher. Because then the fight will be for all our platforms will be who has the best Queen's Gambit in there.
The fight for all the platforms?
No, the fight for all of us is no longer churning out just as many content at 3 million pesos, but to figure out a really good content, may that be 100 million or 20 million peso movie or series, and find the audience who's gonna latch onto it and say, I will keep, if this is the kind of content they're having on their platform, I'll keep on coming back to this.
And it doesn't matter if it's an Erik Matti Queen's Gambit,
yes,
or it's a Cathy Molina Queen's Gambit.
Yes.
As long as there's a Queen's Gambit and everybody gets it, and every platform makes their own piece of the pie.
Yes. Because now it's no longer about, for example, that's what we realized when we lost ABS-CBN. We cannot just show a trailer for every show they have, hoping that whether they like it or not, because they've seen it so many times on TV, they're just gonna say, let's go and watch it. Now it's no longer the case. Now you have to work hard for your story to be a really good story.
Our trade secret is gone. Extinct.
Okay, moving on. Belay, you said earlier that these plans to go to streaming were accelerated for Cignal Play. So how's it going? Like, what's the experience been for you guys?
Well, in our case, it's quite similar to what Enrico was saying, because we were also dabbling into free-to-air content. So right now, it's in terms of content, it started out, well, at first it started out as original, where we had a few titles, series and movies, but right now there's also free-to-air content, so we're doing live streaming on that. We do have a lot of titles a few titles in the pipeline, but now it's also to what Erik was saying earlier, the situation now of shooting in the pandemic, and stuff like that, then that has increased the cost. So of course we need to manage also our costs, our resources, and the health of the ones who's going to do the production. But we're taking it slowly. There are a few learnings and realizations from our end, but then it's moving to where we want it to go at this point. We're increasing, I guess it's given the situation of the pandemic, we're increasing the number of subscribers at this point. But as I said earlier, we're still on SVOD. But eventually, the plan is to go TVOD, but then we want to make sure, because our library is very limited at this point compared to the rest of to Viva Max or to Upstream or even to iWant. So we're moving slowly in that direction, and we're trying to minimize the risk and make sure that we're doing things correctly.
Okay, thanks. Tina, the Viva's platform is the great unknown here. Maybe you can tell us a little more about it.
Okay. Well, Viva Max, of course, as I've mentioned earlier, because we have like thousands of hours of content, so that's where we're going to put it. Plus, of course, some original. We will be doing some original series, original movies. That's just gonna go straight to the platform. Apart from the local titles, we also have movies that we've acquired from foreign studios, from foreign companies, like mostly Korean titles, Chinese, Hollywood, Japanese. So that's where we're gonna put it.
What's your model going to be like? Is it like a Netflix? Is it a?
It's gonna be like a Netflix, so it's SVOD as well.
We're doing stuff for Viva as well.
Actually, Erik's gonna do stuff for us.
Yeah.
I'm actually involved in one of those projects, but let's not talk about it yet. What I guess this goes back to the question, what's the pricing going to be for something like that?
I said, well, it's going to be like $149 per month.
Oh, okay.
And Tina's being modest. I think Viva's coming up with 50 original movies next year. At least that's the plan.
That's
50.
the plan.
Wow.
Yes, and they're also just to comment on Viva Max. They're also getting some of the library of Regal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is a good mix. Which is a good idea.
Yeah.
Actually, we're welcoming everybody who wants to put their stuff on our platform. So it's like what Enrico was saying, parang it's open to all. It's not like, we have like silos that, okay, it's only exclusive to Viva Max or exclusive to iWant or exclusive to Upstream or C-Play for that matter.
Even on old movies, it's no longer a case of exclusivity as well.
Yeah.
Everybody knows we have deals wherein people will get from us non-exclusive.
Yeah.
It's a case of being available to where the audience has the habit of going to. So if people get into the habit of Viva Max, nandun ang movies ng Star, it should not be a problem. It's still viewership for all of us.
Yeah, most of our movies are with iWant TV as well.
Oh, so cross-pollinate na lang and get everybody in.
Well, that does bring up the question: why do we need so many different platforms? What's the advantage? I mean, as a consumer, I guess it's great. I can pick and choose, but how does it work for you guys? Your competitors.
This is an honest and a quick answer. We are at the cusp of pre-consolidation. This is when everybody comes up with their own attempts, and the one that the cat decided that
Hey, Sunny Jim.
to spice up the conversation.
Sunny Jim was not happy.
Ayaw niya yung
Enrico was explaining the Pythagorean theorem.
Dumating ang pusa, sinira ni Schrodinger's cat. Hindi, I was saying, pre-consolidation yan. People will come up, they would have their own attempts, and then the dominant player will arise. It will eventually become a two-party system, and then somebody will win. It's just the way capitalism works, I think. But it's healthy, as you said, Philbert, because the most robust system has to rise because user experience, the Filipinos are very sophisticated and they'll want the best. This is pre-best period. This is before.
But I think Philbert, more than consolidation, like what Enrico is saying, if you go through all the plans of Viva Max, of Cignal Play, and even the, KTX, you will see that everyone has a certain kind of branding to the kind of films that they'll have, content that they have. So in the end, maybe it's not just having one or two that wins over the rest, but maybe there's a few for each of us. There's a few audience for each of us.
That's
and
correct.
We have a loyal following.
Yeah.
That's good for us. Okay na yung loyal following.
I guess it also forces each one of us, let's say, to step up. I mean, similar to what you're saying earlier, like this, when you go to Disney, you know the type of content that you see.
Yes.
HBO Go, Apple, and Amazon, and Netflix. So yeah, it's also pushing us to, at the end of the day, where we should be producing quality content. So it pushes us that way.
Funny and scary at the same time na parang,
Yes.
Like before you know the cord cutting, diba? Parang, sige,
yes.
everyone's their cable because they're paying so much for channels. But now, if you look at, yun nga, diba, na parang Amazon, Apple, Peacock, HBO, HBO Max, so you have all these things, you're gonna end up paying maybe even more.
Exactly.
At yung fear is us, diba? Like the Philippine, if it's not as simple as turning on your TV and just like pressing that button on your Sony or Samsung remote, and Netflix is there and Apple TV is there, baka yung mga Pinoy yung malulugi. So it's scary, but I think we'll find a way eventually to kind of like go against.
Regarding the fear that Quark was describing, it's pretty much like starting a film. You have all the best ideas, you can see where it's going, and then when you start shooting it, you realize, oh fuck, it's not going that route. So you slowly adjust, and that's what you're scared of. That your film in your mind becomes something else, right?
Yeah.
Everybody dreams of what Belay and Erik are saying. We all find our niche, but I do think that Quark's issue about money is very valid. I think in America they're talking of at most 3 streamers, and Americans will not cover for the 4th. Ayaw na nila magbayad, much less with the Filipinos. So I really would love it. I really would love to have a Shudder, which is really focused only on, say, horror.
Yeah.
But then, sabi nga ni Erik, we'll have to see what happens. Are we going to niche and become a very rich garden of many different streamers? A partial consolidation, or, whatever else? Who knows until the pandemic ends?
Well, what's also interesting, there are some pitches there who would say, okay, do you want to co-prod with another platform? Di ba nangyayari din yun? That would be an interesting.
That's what we're talking with Viva.
Yeah. So like you share the content.
Yeah.
You share the content.
Exactly.
Viva
do for Viva to ask us to do content for them, and we split it for Upstream.
Windowing lang.
Or us
share. Yeah.
Doing a content for Viva Max and then splitting the window. Yeah.
We have a question from Facebook. I guess this is for Enrico. Ang ABS ay KTEX and then Netflix. Ganun na lagi? Or may film specifics as KTEX product?
Ang ABS ay actually, sino siya? Hello, kung sino ka man.
This is Christine Quintana, Kins.
Kins, kumusta ka? Nagtanong ka pa, hindi mo na lang tinext. Anyway, ABS is actually to everywhere. We do have iWant. We do have KTX, which is parang gated entry. It is in no way the same range as Upstream.
But Enrico, I'm confused really with iWant and KTX. I'm not sure what it is. What's the difference between the two?
Ang KTX,
so I hope you could also enlighten us on that.
Ang KTX ay may live component. Yun lang naman ang habol namin din. So when we do premieres, it's more efficient in KTX kasi may live component. Nakakapag fan-con kami online. And then, of course, if you put it there, then people will just follow and watch it. So we just do a run there. Eventually, it goes to iWant, where it becomes just normal VOD. We do have iWant. We do have iWant also of the same movie, but no fan-con because iWant doesn't have a live component. Eventually,
so U-turn U-turn is for KTX or for I1?
Both. U-turn was
Right.
premiered on KTX, but it has an I Want airing that is also just VOD but no premiere because of no live. And Belay, it is also on Cignal. And it is also on Sky Cable. We tried to come up with a consortium of platforms to see where our movies, what mix will make our movies most profitable. Early stage pa. But yes, the KTX is only because we kept it because of the live component, so we can do our premieres. The rest is really just airing. But to answer Kin's question, we do have KTX, we do have I Want, we do have a consortium with Cignal and Sky Cable pay-per-view, and it's called Cine Express, where we all sabay-sabay simultaneously show it. But Star Cinema movies and Black Sheep movies are also showing on Netflix, on Vudu, Redbox, Amazon, and Apple TV. And a few
Ano
others.
yung Cine-Express naman?
Cine Express lang yung tinatawag namin. Internal B2B label lang namin for KTX, I Want, Cignal, and Sky Cable sabay-sabay.
Okay.
Sabay-sabay lang. So actually, you don't need to know the brand. If you have a Sky Cable subscription, alam mo meron daw channel for U-turn. Pag meron kang Cignal, alam mo may channel for U-turn. Or my LDR. Or Boyet, which is showing now with Zijan. Or Four Sisters coming soon right after. These are startup, early days. We know we cannot recover yet, but Kins, hopefully with the range of possible windows that we have, the movie will eventually make money.
Can I ask a question? Ako?
Go. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? So now everyone's moving online. So what's going to be the future of cable for us?
Wow. Baby Bella, how about Cignal answering that?
Well, so far from our end, we're increasing our channels. Then we even have the channels of we have the Kapamilya channels also on our end. So far, we're not seeing it as advanced like in the US where they're cord cutting already.
Yeah.
But eventually, I think it will probably head there at some point. But as to when, I can't really say. But I guess the reason also why we went into streaming, because eventually when that time comes, then we have probably another platform that we can go into. But in terms of subscribers, it's increasing, for at least from our end.
On our end, I think we're on a plateau or just a slight growth. But I don't think we're going down because we paired it with Sky Broadband. You get the cable channel and you get the broadband. So people find ways to survive. And then we're introducing Sky Community Wi-Fi, which is even a free Wi-Fi to all the provinces, which should help Upstream, KTX, Viva Max. Kasi even the ones who do not have regular Wi-Fi can just go to, I think we're going to put it in sari-sari stores as a start. So they'll go there and they'll get their free 1 hour, 30 minutes, or 2 hours of Wi-Fi.
Because, the reason why I asked is because earlier on, when we were putting up one of the Upstream, one of the main questions we had was, as part of the user experience, is really the convenience of watching it at your own time, at your own place, wherever. Which is pretty much like, for example, how YouTube wants it, where if you want to watch the news that happened 5 hours ago, then you could just find it in YouTube. Because mainly, for example, in cable, in my cable TV, I had to, there's a strict like timing for, if you want to watch Law and Order, you need to wait for it on a Friday. So I don't know how that, we don't even know too from our end, but I don't know how the user experience now think about the habit of waiting for it on a weekly basis, or is it, I want to watch it now and I hope I could find it now.
Erik, I'll throw the question back to you. Paano ba yung The King? They did it in Netflix and people do make abang. So
Yeah, but with Netflix, you have the convenience of watching it at your own time.
Yeah.
but the King,
It's there. They're
Oh.
throwing the content there in the library, and then you decide, am I watching it at 2 a.m. or am I gonna watch it at 8 a.m.?
Sa bagay.
Diba? So, because that would help us a lot if we figure that out. What's the kind of habit that Filipinos have now? Are they still waiting for a weekly, for like a daily time? Or are they at a point where if I'm riding a bus and it's traffic, I think I have time for a 30-minute show. So maybe I should pick one now. You get what I mean?
Yeah,
And that's what we can't figure out yet. And that's why I'm asking the question.
I have an answer that is not exactly true for all. In Katniel, the house arrest of us, we drop it at 2 p.m. every Saturday on KTX. And it works. There's an upsurge of viewership, people watch. But then
Okay.
you're also correct. After the watch, syempre it goes to VOD. They can rewatch it over and over again. And there's also a lot of people just watching it over and over again. So
Okay.
far, it's a combination of both. I was mentioning the King because if I'm not mistaken, the King of Korea drops one day after the TV airing
Yes.
to Asia. And people do wait up. So there is a possibility for such a blend, like an appointment viewing on VOD. But you're correct. I don't know. Netflix never releases figures. How many watch it on its drop and how many watches it later on? That we do.
Yeah, like BL, the BL of Thailand, I think it was released weekly, right?
Yes, on YouTube. Yeah, and that managed to create a movement. So, yeah.
Did.
Ang hirap, we can't pin it down yet, but yes, the possibilities there.
Just to add to that, I think it also matters where they watch it. Kasi if they're watching it on a smaller screen, which is their phone, medyo hindi people are not as patient when it's in a small screen, especially if it's titles with Korean titles that have subtitles. That's what we observe. But when it comes to, you're saying, the behavior in the cable, so far, based on what we're seeing, like let's say in some of the channels, they still follow an appointment viewing. Plus, I think there's also a difference in viewers. The ones who are watching OTT are the younger ones compared to the ones who's watching it on cable.
Okay.
So let's look to the future. I know it's hard to imagine right now, but someday this pandemic will end and theaters will be open again. What are you guys gonna do? Like, what's the plan?
Well,
I think no, I think it's okay for us. Like Viva Max will still be there even if the theaters are open. Because like of course there's a holdback always, which is like in Korea, actually their premium VOD or their TVOD is simultaneous with the theatrical. So parang for them there's no difference in terms of like the revenue. I think later on pwede nating gawin yun eh. But syempre of course we have to deal with the theater chain owners because they want like a 5-month window before you can put it on the platform. So siguro if there's a way for us to lessen that window.
In the US, it's just 17 days now.
Yeah, but just like AMC and Universal.
Yeah.
I don't know the other chains like Regal.
Would it be worth the trouble to even still do if you're talking about that, right? Like you have to negotiate with these theater owners. You have to the split is going to be different, and it's stuff you don't control anymore. Like, why would it be worth it to go back to cinemas?
Because people go to the cinemas.
Okay, I'd like to answer that.
I can't believe a film critic just asked that question. Go ahead, Mel.
Kasi I came from SM Cinema so parang I'm in touch with them. So they're more flexible now in terms of windowing. They were telling me like in the year, si Direct Erik is right. It's now they're talking about baka naman 7 days windowing because that's what NBC is doing. Now they're asking us, do you want to do private screening? So I think they're also trying to reinvent themselves. But at the end of the day, I think nothing beats the cinema experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, parang you cannot watch Marvel on your phone. Diba?
Yeah.
Oo. So
I think what happens, what will happen to the cinemas is part of the consortium that Enrico is
yes.
saying.
Yeah.
Meaning we all have our venues by which to show the films, and one of those is the cinemas.
That's
So
true.
you decide, okay, I'll start with the cinemas first, or do I show my films together with the cinemas and the online? But the next question there is, with a year of pandemic, what has changed with the viewing habit of people?
Mhm.
Will we get enough confidence immediately for people to run in droves in the cinemas? So I think that's what they also need to build up. In as much as us, I remember like a month ago, the cinemas did a really well-made big production.
Drive-through.
No, not just the drive-in, but our cinemas are open.
Yeah,
It's
the social
safe.
distancing.
Everyone's on masks, etc.
Yeah.
I think it came out too early. I think they should have done that around March, April next year,
Yeah.
and people would have started to think about, I think I missed the movies. But this soon, where you have COVID everywhere, I think it's just pushing the
The
limits
fear, the paranoia.
of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also, I think when Eric and I talked about this nga na, we are film guys. You feel also, diba? Parang we are cinema people. It is irreplaceable.
Is it though?
Well, but yun nga, but exactly, it might be just the romantics in us, diba?
Yeah.
So,
and honestly,
so
I mean,
that
let's be
fear-
honest. Like the theater experience in the Philippines isn't always great.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like Enrico said, like, can you watch a Marvel film on your phone? Actually, we see that all the time. Diba?
Yeah.
When we go to mga sari-sari store, nanonood ng ano.
I love it
ng
when somebody
Endgame.
watches a Christopher Nolan film on an iPhone. It's really, it feels good.
It's a big FU to Nolan. But I think also, well, one advantage of the T1 platforms, the S1 platforms, is that that the smaller producer has a chance now, diba? I mean, we've seen it all the time that this great small Pinoy film, there's suddenly like this hashtag save Oda Sawala or save cleaners or whatever, na parang because of that sliding schedule, and then pag hinahanap mo yung film, parang okay, available siya sa Mega Mall only at 7:10 and at 9:30.
Yes.
But with the online platforms, that doesn't have to happen. But you can watch anytime you want. There's no sliding schedules. There's no agawan sa theaters or seat space. So that's something I think we can also look forward to.
Yeah. No. So you have all these platforms. What do you think? What do you think the content going forward will be like for you guys? Like, I mean, you guys actually have experience now, like making content for streaming platforms. Like, has your approach to making this content been different than if you were just making stuff that was going to be shown in the cinema?
I'll connect your question a while ago about the cinemas, the movie houses, kasi cinema being multiple meanings, to what your question is now. And I hate to quote Facebook, but there used to be, like a few months ago, a viral article about Steven Spielberg. And this was in 2013. Yes. Remember that? When he said, thank you, Eric, for remembering it. When he said that the movies will have to change and you probably will get a $500 movie, pero may wine, may steak, or you probably do it the way you would go to the opera or to a Broadway play where it's a premium, super premium event, really dressed to the nines and probably getting your champagne. That actually makes sense, but that makes sense even in the Philippine context. The movie houses after COVID have to exert the effort, as you said, Philbert, to make their premium experience truly premium. na co-op na ng streaming ang normal casual movie-going experience. I think that's what disappeared, where you're kind of lazy, you're in chinelas, you'll enter a movie house, because otherwise you'll just sit in Starbucks and watch a movie for free, or watch a movie on subscription
Yes.
from Viva Max, from Upstream, wherever else. So it doesn't necessarily will be the movie house anymore, even if you're in a mall. Couple that with the experience that during the pandemic, Lazada factor, the Shopee factor, people are not so inclined to go to the department stores anymore. So there's even less motivation to go to the malls where the cinemas are located. So foot traffic in the mall suffers a double whammy. So movie houses, SMs and the like, really need to step up their game once COVID ends. Is it, as you said, improving the sound, improving the projector? What will make it super premium so I'm willing to pay? And now going to content, kami rin, producers, creatives, Quark, everybody, and Tina will have to come up with a movie house appropriate big production. Si Erik has no problem with that.
Oh yeah.
The big production of Erik Matti with lots of effects. But the rest of us have to catch up. I cannot really say that all of our romances will translate to post-COVID movie house experience. We have to do something more. That's the honest truth. Ay, kayo dyan. Ano content nyo?
Yeah. Okay. No, that's a great answer.
Yeah. Ganda.
So yeah, no. Do you actually see the cinemas evolving? Do you see the movie houses evolving? Do you see them changing their ways? Because I mean, we have had decades of basically very little change in the movie house industry, in the theater industry. Like, do you like where do you see this all going?
You know what I wish? What I wish is after this pandemic, all the cinema owners, cinema chains will reach out to all the local producers and start reviving the local content.
Yeah.
Extend an arm and say, we're gonna push for your films. If your obscure film, we're gonna put it on 6 cinemas for every theater mall.
I mean, that's your hope.
Just so we could start a partnership
happening?
together. Maybe they should start paying it forward, and then slowly it enlivens the cinema experience again.
Like I mean, honestly, I can't see them like still choosing a local film over the next big Marvel movie. And you again, when you guys talked about like you can't watch Marvel on your phone. I mean, you can, but like yes, that's right. Like what people are looking for in their cinema experience is a big Marvel movie. So what would their incentive be in changing the way that they've done things over the last years? I wish we had a theater owner here.
Yeah. Hard to answer on their behalf, huh?
I mean, but you guys deal with them all the time. Like, yeah, like what would motivate them to change the way they've been doing things? Is it
maybe the XSM can answer.
We'd like to hear from you.
Okay, from what I know, they're right sizing. So, kasi diba, like for example, in Mega Mall, they had like cinemas that are 1,000-seater eh. When they right size, then there will be more cinemas that can accommodate more content. So that will be good for us content producers.
Yes.
What happens, right? Diba, they have very limited screens, then usually it just goes to let's say if there's a blockbuster. It's also good that there's less foreign films that are, I mean, they're not producing yet as much as like us. We do have, from a budget of, I don't know, 10 million up to, there's like Viva alone has 50 titles that they're working on.
Yeah.
So I think there will be an influx of local content coming from all of us. So I guess it's just a matter of, I guess, talking to them. And at the end of the day, it's really helping the industry. When we have more content, local content, they will have moviegoers. Oh, I think they should start realizing that.
all right? Yeah, I think we're actually running close to our end time. I just want to give you all time to plug your stuff, I guess. Uh, yeah, no, go ahead. Eric, would you like to start?
Yeah. Well, yes, I'm happy that I wanted to do this. When the invitation came in, I wanted to do this. I finished shooting at 6 a.m. this morning, and I really wanted to be part of this. Even if I knew a week ago that maybe not gonna be easy uh, to be part of it, knowing that I'm just finishing something. I wanted to be here because it's the first time that we're all seeing each other. Uh, all the platforms that are starting, I'm presuming we're all starting 2021 because we want a fresh start, even if we started early this year. So I'm just glad that we all came in together, we heard each other, we listened to each other's ideas. And for the Upstream um, platform, we are really looking at bringing in together. We want to be the friendliest platform for all the content producers. Uh, and it's not just out of goodwill, or it's not just about being an ambassador for, yeah, we want to fight for films, cinema. Uh, but I think we're, we're not tapping the entire audience of the Philippines yet. We've been so used to the cinemas telling us this is the only films you can watch. We've been so used of TV networks, for example, telling us this is the only kind of content you can watch. And I think it's about time that the floodgates are open. We get to see whatever we want to see. If if you want to be gung ho about what you want to see, a lot of violence, a lot of sex, then go ahead and find your own content for that. If you want all the dainty, colorful, nice stuff, then go ahead and find your. I think that will be good for the audience. That I feel that's the only way that we could enliven our Filipino audience, because remember, our Filipino audience doesn't follow our content because they can't find too much diversity. But in the foreign arena, that's why they go towards that, is because they have every chance to look at all kinds of content. I want a Spanish one. I want the one done in Aramaic. I want a Korean love story. So I think it's about time that we ourselves produce content that's open to everyone. Yeah.
Okay. Tina, anything to plug for Viva?
Um, well, thank you also for inviting me. This is a very interesting panel discussion. I learned a lot. And as for Viva Max, we're hoping to bring, like what Eric said, we're hoping to give the audience like quality content.
Yeah.
And like to make the audience also reminisce about like our old films, to watch them again and see the glory days and of Philippine cinema.
Okay. Bella?
Okay. Well, thank you also for having me here. It was a very interesting discussion, and well, two things like what Direct Eric has said. The floodgates have opened, and yeah, then it's all of us here working together and providing quality content to the audience. So, I guess at one point it would be nice to see all of us working together, di ba? Parang and at helping each other in pushing the local content. Well, not only improving the quality of the local content, but it's also improving the how should I say this, the Filipino audience, 'di ba?
Yes.
Parang hindi lang yung meron din silang mapupulot or makukuha dun sa content natin ipoproduce. Kasi Derek's right pag let's say, not to be naman to indie, but if you don't see it on theater, saan mo nga siya mapapanood? Oo. And we do have a lot of really quality content that now are available in all our different platforms. So I hope
Yes.
this is something that will continue. Because I guess at the end of the day, we owe it to the Filipino audience.
Quark?
Yeah, no, well, for the plugging, Fangirl, please watch on Upstream, Metro Manila Film Festival, co-produced with Enrico. And then also we have Midnight in a Perfect World out now for QCinema, and Gaya sa Pelikula on YouTube. And I just want to say that I really hope that the Filipino mindset changes when it comes to kasi yung Pinoy talaga diba? We feel entitled to our content. I mean, I'm sure each of us here have experienced that pain when you post your trailer, babae allergic sa Wi-Fi or Quaresma or something, and the first comment on the YouTube trailer is saan makakahanap ng link dito, or PM me, may free link ako. You Pinoys pay 150 a day for their tall Starbucks coffee, but you won't pay 120 a month to see all the ABS and Regal classics as much as you want, diba? Unlimited for a whole month. And it's kind of become a game, and it's kind of sickening na it's not even about money, diba? It's more about yung bragging rights na, hindi ako may link ako dito sa House Arrest of Us, please PM me. You don't get anything, you just get like plus points on the internet. You become internet famous, and that really hurts us. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. Everyone who's watching this probably feels the same way, but just if we can change that, then I think we'll be okay.
Enrico?
Well, I don't know. This is really, to be honest, this is even touching for me, because it's a consolation to hear that every one of us is feeling the same pain, the same difficulty, the same struggle, pero the same big dreams. In fact, I'm going to leave this meeting very happy sa sinabi ni Quark na ang sakit, di ba? Ibabash ka pa, pero isi-share ka naman ng libre, pero binash ka muna. And I also share the optimism of Erik.
To be honest, this is even touching for me.
Wow, that's a double. And then Eric's saying that maybe one day we can all just combine and show one movie at a time, na at least pang blockbuster, to lift everybody up. Those are very heartening things. Those are things that make me feel hopeful about the industry. I'll go to the plug first. Siyempre, panurin nyo pa ang Buyet, nasa KTX Pat. I want Cignal and Sky. And we have Four Sisters. Quark and I, Fangirl. To me, was a shocking movie when I saw it. Quark, sa shock ako. Our teen stars. This is what Erik is saying. Iba naman. So wow, our teen stars were made to do those things. Fantastic. And one thing that really opened my eyes then, nung sinabi ni Erik na, yeah, in a way, the dominance of one taste has crippled the Filipinos' taste overall. And when they found the Netflix expansion, they just went in droves to it. So it's our turn to re-widen the taste. And so I'm happy that some, as they all say, some crisis opportunities, this pandemic is an opportunity for us to reset. I'll just leave with the thought that cinema since 1907 has been said to die. Nung lumabas ang TV, nung lumabas ang Betamax, VHS, DVD, nung lumabas ang piracy, I think everybody in this room, again, it's the choir, agree with me na cinema lives on. But we are ready to evolve, and evolution is the one that's going to happen by 2021. And we hope to be all a part of it.
Thanks. I just have one question, since you guys brought up Fangirl. What is the MTRCB situation on streaming services right now?
It's actually self-rated. And to the credit of Dan and Tonet, who said, no, this is an R16 film. So it was actually the producer and the director.
On all the MMFF titles, we're putting in just below it, just like Netflix, we're putting in violence, sex, slight, yeah.
Okay.
For every film.
Before we end, let me invite everyone to keep on streaming QCinema special edition films at upstream.ph/QCinema. Movies showing until December 6 are Cleaners by Glenn Barrett, Oda sa Wala by Dwayne Baltazar, Balangiga Howling Wilderness by Candle Cruz, A Babae at Baril by Ray Red, the world premiere of Midnight in a Perfect World by Dodo Dayao, the Asian premiere of Merry Go Round by Daria Wozek, Asian premiere of End of the Century by Lucio Castro, the Southeast Asian premiere of True Mothers by Naomi Kawase, the Philippine premiere of Raw by Emir Ezwan.
That's it.
That's it or nag-freeze? Si
Nag-freeze.
Nawala.
Well, at least sa pinakadulo.
Yeah, I think that's the end.
And that concludes. No.
And production designer Armin
Thank you for joining us.
Ayan na.
More details about QCinema are at qcinema.ph. Don't forget to also follow QCinema on Twitter and Instagram and like the film festival on Facebook. Thank you to all my guests, to all our guests for joining us here. Good
Thank
night,
you.
everyone.
You all.
Thank you.
Everyone.
See you soon, I hope.
Guys.
In person.
Ingat.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.